Hi, folks. Tom here with another episode of Just Start Typing for Typeset. And today I'm going to be talking about how to make basically like a book report or like a movie review, whatever it is, this sort of like download in Typeset with the help of a couple other tools. All right. So today I'm going over The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. It was made into several movies. It's a science fiction book written in the early 20th century. And uh, first thing I did was, well, I read the book, watched the movies, etc. Good thing to do. All right, but also I went to ChatGPT and I asked for a bit of a summary about the book, about the movie, some key concepts, and that sort of thing. And then I put that into a Google Doc, right? I cleaned it up because it comes like not very well formatted, that sort of thing. So I turned this into heading one. That's my very first slide that I'm going to make. And then I made these other like headlines, heading two. See, so I can click through over here, my table of contents, and that'll go over to my author section, introduction of the book, plot summary, that sort of thing. So I already have like this, format of what I want in Google Docs, right? Grab some pictures from Wikipedia and Google Images, and added some of my own thoughts and stuff as well. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and select all of this. I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to go over to Typeset. I'm going to create a new deck. And once I have this open, I'm going to click in here to my very first slide, and I'm going to paste everything from my Google Doc. Okay, now it's populated all these slides. It recognized those H1s and H2s as basically like the slide titles, right? So those are like my main ideas that I want, which is probably one thing that I want on a slide. I don't want a bunch of main ideas and a bunch of content on every slide. So Typeset is smart enough to break all of those into their own slide for me already automatically. All right, so it looks great. And then now I'm going to do a little bit of cleanup here. So I noticed in this first slide, I took my headline, subtitle, and then it also took this table of contents here with my like my main plots, which works great in Google Docs. Typeset can do that for me already, so I don't need this section. So I'm going to go ahead and delete these bullets and just delete that. And this table of contents, I'm going to make a new slide and drag my table of contents onto that new slide. And underneath that table of contents, I'm going to hit slash table, and it's going to open up this little help box here. And there's a table of contents button. And then you can see on the preview window over here on the right side of my screen that it already populates. It picked up those H2s and it populates a table of contents for me. It's dynamic, which means I can click on those whenever I'm presenting, and it'll jump to that section of my slide deck. All right, so I can, if I click on this edit button, I can see here include all titles. Well, that first one, Journey Through Time, that's really my title slide, and I don't want to include that one, so I'm going to exclude it. I'll just include the rest of them. Okay, so now my table of contents looks great. And let's see, I'm going to hit the magic wand button here on this very first cover because, it's just kind of boring. I want at least something going on here, some sort of image in this very first slide that I have. So select an image just like that. All right. And, I really like this black on white theme. But before I go any further, why don't I change that up and see what other themes we have? I'm going to click on the color palette here on top right, design and style, and see what other themes I might want to choose from. I have midnight selected, but I really like this big text one. It's got that cool like gradient sort of aspect going to it. So I'm going to hit that, and then it looks like I have a white background on most things. I wonder if I can change that to, okay, Perfect. I can change that to a black background, and if I need to or I want to, I can um, update it to some other color that I wanted in my theme or in pictures or whatever. Okay, so if you'll notice in this slide, my table of contents slide, it says I have too much content. Okay, well, that's an issue. That means some of it I can see is getting kind of cut off there at the top. Um, and if I take a look at it, it looks like it's showing that Explore H.G. Wells Time Machine. Again, okay, well, I'll go over here to my table of contents, exclude that one. Um, and okay, my little warning went away and my table of contents looks great. All right, so now I have some black slides, some white slides, and it's going to keep changing to keep my audience engaged. So great. All right, here's an author overview. That slide looks great. I put a picture of H.G. Wells in there. Let's see what else. Then I have an introduction slide, and then I have a plot summary. And I went ahead and put in an image for it's the cover, I guess, or one of the first pages for the time machine in there. Now I'm getting this message again that there's too much content in here. So if I open up the remix drawer, then it's going to show me some other options that basically remix this content to a different layout so that it doesn't cut off any of my contents there. So I still have my picture, still looks great. If I wanted to kind of center that up a little bit, I could drag it over just like that. And then you'll see this big paragraph of content where the plot summary is not cut off. It's complete. It looks great. All right. Now I have in this next one some key characters. Okay, so if I take a look at this, well, all right, here's my picture of the time traveler and Weena, one of the main characters in this slide. But I really talk about her on this key characters slide. So what I want to do actually is I'm going to take this picture, I'm just going to drag it, and I'm going to drop it into the next slide over here in my editor window. And it looks like it's focusing on this guy, the time traveler, but I also want to focus on Weena. So let's see if I can readjust that image. Perfect, just like that. I'll hit the check so it saves. All right, and that looks excellent. All right, and then on my next slide, it's just a big picture of the Morlocks. And Typeset went ahead and used this whole picture as the background. And that looks awesome, except it's a little hard to read my black text there in the foreground. So I'm going to open up the remix drawer again and see what other options I have. Okay, so this remix looks great. It's kind of like a little subtitle sort of thing, where I have a white block underneath it, and it works out perfectly for that. All right. Let's see if I go over here, some memorable quotes. One of these things that we can do is we can change the text from just being quote unquote normal text or paragraph text. We can make something a quote, and you'll see that it sort of changes the way that it looks, and it kind of wraps it in this one set of quotes. And I'm going to go ahead and do that with these memorable quotes from the book. All right, so the memorable quotes from the book, and they really they're bold, they stand out, they look great. I'm going to remix this one again because we have a white background, but I think that it would pop more if it was a black background. And it looks great. So some cool quotes, and let's see what else I have. Coming up next, main ideas and themes. All right, I have bullets that just go listing out some of the main ideas found in the book that we can still, or that we could read into and sort of identify, that sort of thing. Um, so if I wanted to make any of those a little bit more interesting, I might bold a couple of some words. I can just, select a word and hit Command B, or I can come up here and hit this B, make it bold, and I can move on to, let's go ahead and remix this one as well. Let's see if there's any other remix. Oh, that's what I want to do. Change the colors there, make it that black background. And applications for today. So you'll notice in this one, I just have 3 components here on the left in my editor. They're not bullets, but let's say that I wanted to go ahead and change this up. So I'm going to say this is 3 applications for today. And now whenever I look at the preview window, it's kind of hard to tell that that's 3 applications. So what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and select this first one, and I'm going to come up here, my window, and I'm going to hit that numbered list. And then I'm going to select that second component, hit the back button, and then hit enter again. And do this for the last component here. So I'm in my third component, hit the back button, and I'll hit enter again so you can see that it kind of pops and then drops that into my numbered list. And since I have this like numbered list now, I can look at my preview window and it went ahead and just reformatted it. Instead of just being basic 1, 2, 3, it added some dividers there in between. So kind of made it more aesthetically interesting than just 1, 2, 3. So that was really great. I didn't have to think about the layout, automatically did that. All right, and let's look at the conclusion, which to me looks great, except, you know what, it'd be nice if we had something maybe a little bit more interesting here. Well, going on. So in my editor window, I'm going to go ahead and add a GIF. So hit /Giphy, hit enter, and it's going to bring up some GIFs already based on the content of my slide, but I don't say anything about the time machine in here, so I'm going to go ahead. So these are just kind of things related to the story or conclusion or whatever, and I'm going to go ahead and hit time machine and type that in there. So Back to the Future, all sorts of different things from like time travel eras. But I like this one. I think that is from the 1966 movie, The Time Machine. And if I hover over it, I can see how it's going to look whenever I present my slides. All right, and then last but not least, I have a Q&A here, and this is like an original cover of when the Time Machine first ran in a publication. It was like a series of stories published in this magazine, and I want to remix this one as well. Even though it looks very cool, I want to change it up at least a little bit. So make that cover kind of pop. I don't want to cut it off at all. And I'm going to go ahead and add this black background to it as well. Okay, so I used ChatGPT. I used Google Docs. I made all my contents sort of like loosely formatted. At least I used some basic markup in Google Docs, and then I copied and pasted everything over to Typeset. And then I kind of just went through and maybe remixed some things or changed some things because I didn't like the way that they looked in a slide deck versus on a Google Doc. So now I have my finished product, which is this sort of book report on the time machine. So anyway, I hope that has been helpful, and I will catch you in the next time. In the meantime, I hope that you go out, continue to make beautiful content in Typeset.